If you've ever loved someone so deeply that you forgot where you ended and they began, only to be erased from the story, you are not alone. Comment your city. I want to know how far this truth echoes. The envelope came on a rainy Thursday. I remember the drops tapping like impatient fingers on my kitchen window, streaking the glass with watery trails. I was at the table with a chipped mug of chamomile tea, the kind I'd been drinking every morning since I turned 40. When my hands first started shaking after the mornings became quieter than they should have been, it was thick, gold-edged. The calligraphy screamed formality. Before I even opened it, my stomach twisted with a familiar ache, the kind that warns you, this is going to hurt. Where are you watching from? Tell me in the comments so I know how far this truth reaches. And remember, your story matters, even if someone tries to erase it. The return address read, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Allen. Inside was a cream-colored card with embossed gold foil. I didn't need to read it, but I did. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Thomas Allen Jr. and Caroline Myers, Thomas Jr., my nephew. But that word nephew never fit right in my mouth, because I hadn't raised him like a nephew. I had raised him like my own son. He was 3 when he came to me. I still remember the way he looked, his tiny hand clutching a green plastic dinosaur, his backpack dragging on the ground behind him like a tired tail. My sister, Celia, had appeared on my doorstep without warning. Her mascara smudged like bruises beneath her eyes, her breath tinged with gin and desperation. I need help, she whispered. Just for a while. She never came back. And I never let go. I fed him, bathed him, sang to him during thunderstorms when he cried that the clouds were angry. I sat up all night through fevers, took him to preschool with notes written in his lunchbox, clapped during school plays when other parents couldn't be bothered to show up. He called me mom by accident the first time when he was 5, and by 10, it didn't feel like an accident anymore. He was mine in every way that mattered except blood. So when I read that invitation, and saw that I was listed as Aunt Charlotte, not mom, not the woman who raised me, not even honorary guardian, just aunt, my hands trembled. My name was spelled correctly. The address was accurate, but the feeling in my chest, like the card was never meant for me, like it was a formality, a checked box, a whisper that said, you're no longer part of this version, the version where Thomas had a perfect present mother, the version where I never existed. I walked over to the bookshelf. Tucked between 2 dusty figurines was a silver frame photo, me and Thomas at his high school graduation. He was smiling, radiant in his cap and gown, cheeks flushed from the sun, my arm wrapped around him, his hand resting on mine. That photo used to make me beam, now it made me ache. I remembered that day, how I'd ironed his gown 3 times, how I cried behind my sunglasses when he took the stage, how he hugged me and whispered, thank you for everything, Mom. But that memory wasn't part of the story anymore, was it? Against my better judgment, I opened Facebook. The first post? A glowing photo of Thomas and Caroline standing in a vineyard, smiles wide, arms entwined. Her hand was resting on her stomach, her belly. The caption, grateful for this new chapter. Can't wait to meet our little one in December. They were having a baby, and I found out like a stranger. On Facebook, I scrolled further. Engagement photos, baby showers, laughter, light, and my sister Celia, smiling, beside Thomas, arm around Caroline, toasting with champagne like she had never disappeared, like she had never vanished for years, while I scrubbed vomit off bed sheets, while I pawned grandma's heirlooms to pay for Thomas's braces, while I canceled job interviews to attend parent-teacher meetings. In the comments under one photo, someone wrote, so beautiful to see the family back together again. Celia replied, wouldn't trade this journey for anything. Like, I was never there. Like I was invisible. I closed the app, and I arfed yes, not because I was ready, but because I needed to see how they'd rewritten me, what role they'd shoved me into, what title they'd taken away. I didn't call, didn't text. I waited. No one reached out. 2 weeks later, I received a generic group email. Shuttle times, dress codes, hotel discounts, no greeting, no personalization. My name wasn't even in the to field, just BC. The wedding was at the same vineyard from the Facebook photo, rows of white chairs, lavender blooming, the kind of fairy tale Thomas used to say he didn't believe in. I found my seat, second row, not front, not family, just second. No one greeted me. Then I saw her, Celia, She turned, and for a moment, her smile faltered, like she'd seen a ghost. Then she straightened her shoulders and walked toward me. Charlotte, she said, like the name itself was a chore. I didn't know you were coming. You invited me, I replied. I assumed. She trailed off, and that's when I saw it. Around her neck, a gold chain. My gold chain, the one Thomas made for me in the 3rd grade. A lopsided pendant shaped like a star, painted pink and blue. He gave it to me on Mother's Day, said, "You're my North Star." I used to wear it on every birthday, every holiday. Now, she wore it like it was always hers. I opened my mouth to speak, but then music. The ceremony began. Thomas walked out, tall, handsome in a sharp blue suit. He scanned the crowd, right over me. His eyes never paused. He walked to the front row, bent down, and kissed Celia's cheek. Caroline came down the aisle, glowing. Thomas beamed, and during his vows he said, "I'm the man I am today because of the strong women in my life, especially my mother, Celia, who never gave up on me." My heart, it didn't break. It crushed inside my chest. He didn't even look at me. I sat frozen, while the rings were exchanged, while they smiled and sealed their story, their version of truth, where I was nothing but a footnote, if that. I didn't stay for the reception, didn't touch the chicken marsala I'd circled on the RSVP card. I stood quietly, and left. No one noticed, not even the boy I'd rocked to sleep, not even the child who once whispered, "I wish I grew in your tummy." That night, I sat at the kitchen table again, same chipped mug, same silence, and I wrote him a letter. "Thomas, you were 3 when your mother left. You cried so hard your nose bled. I held you, rocked you, told you she'd come back, but she didn't. I stayed. I packed lunches, made costumes for school plays. I canceled dates to make it to your dentist appointments. I gave up so many things to give you everything. And today you erased me. You called someone else Mom. You kissed her cheek with the smile you used to give me. You stood in front of a crowd and rewrote history, and I let you. But I won't be silent. You're not the only one who can tell a story." I didn't send the letter. Instead, on Christmas morning, I sent something else, a package, to Celia's house. Inside, a leather-bound photo album, the title written in silver script, "The Mother You Forgot." Each page a memory. Thomas asleep on my chest, me teaching him how to tie his shoes, helping him carve pumpkins, blowing out birthday candles, drawings that read "Me and Mom," copies of the guardianship papers, pediatrician notes, a photo of me holding his hand on his first day of school. The truth, undeniable, documented, real. At the end, one note: "You don't have to love me, but you don't get to erase me." 2 weeks later, a letter arrived, handwritten, from Caroline. "Dear Charlotte, I didn't know. I truly didn't. I thought Celia had raised him alone. Thomas never said otherwise, but after I saw the album, I wept. You were his mother, in every way that mattered. And when our daughter is born, I want her to know the truth, even if Thomas isn't ready. I am. Please meet me." I held that letter to my chest and cried, not for what I'd lost, but for what I might still gain. Sometimes, revenge isn't loud. It isn't screaming or slamming doors. Sometimes it's memory. It's a quiet truth wrapped in leather and photos. It's surviving erasure with grace. It's being a lighthouse, even when they pretend they don't see you, because love, real love, is never wasted. Even if it's forgotten, even if it's rewritten, even if someone else wears the chain you once held close, it lingers. It glows softly in the corners of stories, and sometimes, it comes home. Where are you watching from? Tell me in the comments so I know how far this truth reaches. And remember, your story matters, even if someone tries to erase it.
Please like and subscribe.